Let's open this up. And these are Hindi heartland states. Let's ask some basic questions. And I want to begin with Tehseen Poonawalla first. Mr. Poonawalla, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Look, I've put out the hard facts. Now, you can be rhetorical, that's your choice, but I think the viewers would appreciate hard evidence-based backed arguments because the Prime Minister has been quite specific. I have given you some facts. I'm just doing a fact check, that's all. So let me ask you, on what basis is the Congress saying that the BJP will rewrite the constitution to demolish quotas and end social justice as we know it?
Good evening, Rahul. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I have no doubt in my mind that the fear is absolutely real, that if this government gets 400 seats, the constitution is in danger. It already is in danger with this government and the way it's presented. What they do and how they rewrite the constitution, that I don't know, and I'm not Nostradamus to predict it. But what I do know is the Vice President of India, Chairperson of Rajya Sabha, the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice of India who sat on his own case of sexual harassment and now is a proud member of the Rajya Sabha, sent by the Prime Minister of India, sent by the President of India, the recommendation of Prime Minister, have derided, mocked, and have put down the basic structure of the Constitution. Imagine a sitting Chief Justice today in Parliament actually said that, and so did the Vice President of India. The basic goddamn structure that protects you, me, and everybody. We have people today languishing in jail. We have people languishing in jail, and the entire edifice of you are innocent until proven guilty has been turned around. You have the state coming after you with draconian laws. You think the constitution is not in danger? Believe me, Rahul, you can sit here in these studios and have these elitist debates, and I'll be a part of them. I love them. But on the ground, the fear is real that this government is coming after you with a vengeance. As for the data that you put out, यही सारा data Prime Minister बोल देते आपसे लेकर, बोल देते ये सारी बातें, कर देते आपके debate में, यही सारे आपके interview में, ये सारे points रख देते, ये सारे तथ्य. But the fact is, and I will end here, Rahul, we want to talk about Aaj, he wants to talk about Taj. And as I predicted on your show, just go back to the archives. हम बात करेंगे इंसान की और बात करेंगे हिंदू मुसलमान की, हम बात करेंगे संविधान की और बात करेंगे गीता और कुरान की, हम बात करेंगे हिंदुस्तान की और बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान की, एनी बॉट इन पाकिस्तान. ये तो फिर झांकी है, दाऊद अभी बाकी है. As he gets more desperate, realizing the first two phases have been a washout, he will bring in Dawood Ibrahim. Watch and mark my words. He'll now bring in Dawood Ibrahim. He'll bring in everything to divert attention, because what he will not tell your viewers is the following three things. Why has the most number of migration legally happened outside India? 2 lakh odd citizens have given up their citizenship, their passports. He will not be able to tell. Why have the most illegal migration happened outside India, particularly from his home state, if it was doing so much of great welfare work that he was doing and such development? He will not be able to answer. Why is there the most number of suicides, over 1 lakh plus, young people looking for jobs happened? This is NCRB data. He will not be able to answer you. Why young Indians going to Israel and Russia to recruit in the army? He will not be able to tell you. The fact of the matter is, unemployment and inflation are real problems that have destroyed lives. And I promise you one thing, Rahul, when our government comes. I promise you one thing, Rahul, when our government comes. Please ask her not to interrupt. This is your show. Please ask her not to interrupt.
Let him finish, Shazia and me. We are not running away. Yeah. We'll come back to all these points. Yeah. Relax.
Don't have to be so. Okay. I promise you one thing, Rahul. No woman. Just one line, Rahul.
It's okay. Let him have his moment. Yeah.
I promise you, Rahul, no woman, when the next government is formed after 4 June, will have to sell her Mangal Sutra to save their loved ones.
Right,
because in COVID, people sold a Mangal Sutra to buy oxygen, which was priced, GST was put on oxygen. Okay. I promise you that, Rahul. I promise you.
Okay. Promises, viewers, if I were to go through the Congress's manifesto, and I want to bring in Dr. Ranganathan here, before I bring in Shazia and me. Let's hear all the arguments, Shazia and me, before I bring you in. Dr. Ranganathan, you know, there was a manifesto that was drawn up in Punjab. Do you remember that manifesto, very famous manifesto, in which they promised to bring down this, that, the other, and make farmers rich, etc. And when the laws were passed, of course, that manifesto was truly forgotten, and Mr. Modi was accused of being the violator of farmer interests, etc., etc. So, you know, these promises, of course. But, I mean, we're talking about basic structure here, how it's been violated. But to my mind, Dr. Ranganathan, Article 356, the use of it several times, endangered by the Shah Bano judgment. Article 370, place of worship, Muslim quotas. There are several other examples. Petroda talking about redistribution of wealth, all sorts of impositions, taxes, and then, of course, the great go-to economist Kaushik Basu, who also chipped in and said that any civilized country must have inheritance tax and so forth. Anyhow, I just want to come back to you, Dr. Ranganathan. Today we are discussing whether, number one, the constitution is going to be upended and whether the Congress is actually the one in the grip of what is an ultra-Marxist, ultra-leftist dogma. Fundamental question.
Good evening, Rahul. Absolutely, you said it. That is the crux of the issue. It's not anyone's case because the data tells you the truth about unemployment. It's one of the lowest, 3.1%. The data tells you the truth about inflation. It's one of the lowest, 4.9%. Jobs, employment, forex reserves, everything else. So the Congress has no other issues. So the Congress is bringing up issues where it believes that it will get its own vote bank to vote for it. Now, it was a very revealing interview, I have to say, and congratulate your channel for it, because let's now, in depth, look at the three revolutionary ideas of the Congress that the Prime Minister talked about, and I'll reveal everything. Number one, appeasement. The Congress has a chance, it really does, to show it is against appeasement by saying that it is for the Uniform Civil Code and will not allow Muslim personal laws to run riot, by saying that it will ban middle-aged Muslims from marrying children, by saying that its government will control mosques as it does Hindu temples, by saying that it will overturn its overturning of the Supreme Court Shah Bano judgment, by saying that it will abrogate the Waqf Act that is blatantly discriminatory, by saying that it will abrogate the conjunction of RTE with the 93rd Amendment that allows Muslim schools to escape keeping reservations for the economically weaker sections, by saying that it will abrogate Hajj subsidy, by saying that it will not celebrate the Hindu mass murderer Tipu Sultan's Jayanti, that it will not allow roads and towns to be named after genocidal monster Aurangzeb, by saying that it will stop paying salaries of Maulvis, by saying that it will stop state-sanctioned and funded madrasas, by saying that it will not have a blanket OBC quota for Muslims where all Muslims are declared backward, by saying that it will include Islamic properties under its wealth redistribution scheme, by saying that it will pass a law making it mandatory that organs be donated to only those Muslims who have themselves pledged to donate their organs. If it isn't going to do any of these, then the Prime Minister is right. How is it Congress's manifesto any different from a manifesto drawn by an Islamic supremacist agency? Number two, wealth redistribution. Now, I don't need to expound on this much more because this is straight out of the pocket diaries of Mao and Pol Pot, belonging to this anti-science cult that has resulted in the murder of 100 million people and is the antithesis of Darwinism, in that it abjures competition and empathy. It attracts hateful, incompetent failures in life. It cushions their guilt of destroying things they're incapable of building. Common sense tells you, Rahul, that beyond the wealth that is anyway redistributed through the income and corporate taxes, any further redistribution amounts to the Marxist idea of looting those who generate wealth, or as Marx himself said, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. But who decides what is ability and what is need? Altruism must always be a fraction of truism. Congress raised corporate taxes to 45% in 1991. Modi reduced it to 22% because common sense tells you that zealous redistribution of wealth reduces wealth. And total redistribution of wealth reduces wealth totally because it removes the incentive for people who generate wealth to generate wealth. Because it makes a segment of population, the recipients, uncompetitive and unproductive, because it destroys every nation that has ever implemented it. Number three, very briefly, inheritance tax. Beyond tackling inheritance accrued through slavery and social Darwinism, inheritance tax is draconian. Every generation strives to generate wealth for its progeny. For the state to take half of it is cruel, beyond imagination. One saves in the hope that it will alleviate suffering of the next generation. One saves for one's own children, not for the children of Nehru, so they may carry out their crackpot commie ideas. Rahul, I will either have a divided India or a destroyed India, had said Jinnah. While he managed the former, the Congress is intent upon managing the latter with its three ideas of appeasement, wealth redistribution and inheritance tax, because they don't encourage welfare. They encourage warfare. They are ideas that promise to break up India.